Good morning. Welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz, LoveTalk on Babz Rawls-Ivy. I got the Hamden delegation in the house this morning. Good morning, Hamden Democrats.
Good morning.
Mayor Lauren Garrett and Town Clerk Karima Mickens. How are y'all?
Great today. Thank you for having us.
Of
Doing well,
course.
excited for tomorrow.
I know. All right, so what's it like? You had a rally yesterday, which I couldn't make. I'm so sorry, but I was there in spirit. So what's the mood like? How are you feeling?
I feel good. We've been rallying every day. I had to rally this morning. I'm a little tired. So I feel good. The energy on the doors is really good. I had someone tell me yesterday that she's going to vote so hard in this election. So it feels good out there.
So do you feel like Hamden is in a much better place since you came into office?
Absolutely. We have improved bond ratings. We have a fund balance now. We have $30 million in grants so that we can improve our infrastructure and do some really good work. We've been paving roads, putting in sidewalks. We're doing the meat and potato stuff that really matters to people.
I love it. And you have a budding arts community that is becoming quite the destination, Hamden, for arts and
Absolutely.
art
Yeah.
expression.
Karima's been doing so much work on that end, and it's beautiful, bringing so much vibrancy into Hamden. And we have some really great artists right here in Hamden, and I love that Karima's been showcasing them so much.
I think so. So tell me about some of the things that's going on. So you got a new police chief, right?
Yeah, new police chief. It took us a little while, but we got there. I put together a police chief search committee, and I wanted to make sure that we really heard from the community and went through this process of finding the best candidate. And so we just hired Edward Page Reynolds. He is from Hamden, went to Hamden High School, and then worked in New Haven for several years before going out to a couple of different states and being a police chief in different communities. So he came back to Hamden, and he's very excited to be here, and we're excited to have him.
I love that. That's a good story right there. That's what you want to see when people come back to their roots. So Karima, you became town clerk. And
Yes.
Town clerk is like I would say the front door to all city government, right? Like
Yes.
if you need to
Lots
know
of things
something, you go to town clerk. You need a permit, a marriage license, you need all kinds of stuff. You started the town clerk's office. How has that experience been for you?
It's been great. I always joke around and I say when the first time I walked into the town clerk's office and I had to look at the location. I was like, whoa, there's so much paper everywhere. Oh my goodness, coming from corporate where there's like no paper, and then coming to town government where there is a lot of paper. It was uh it was like, I looked at it, was like, oh my goodness. But what it did is it gave me hope, because I remember when I first started working in corporate, I was at Verizon, it was Bell Atlantic at the time, and how much paper there was then, and then to see where we were able, to go from there. And so and there's two sides to this coin, because coming from corporate, you think, oh, you don't need as much paper, technology is the way to go. I 100% believe in technology, but let me just tell you the importance of those documents. And listen, when things happen, you realize how important it is to have that actual, a document, the real documentation. And it's so those permanent records. So you really realize how important it is. So I get to see both sides of the coin. Because first, when I came in, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to automate and automate. And it's like, yes, let's do that. But let us not forget the importance of maintaining those permanent records.
Oh my
So I love it.
gosh.
It's been a great journey from, dealing with permanent records, dealing with the people. Like you said, from a town clerk's perspective, you're dealing with from birth to death, right? From the moment that new citizens are born into Hamden to when they leave us, right? So my team takes care of that. As well as some of the happiest days of people's lives when they're getting married, right? So we take care of the copies and give you the originals for that. And one of the things that we did last year was we automated a process where you can get your birth certificates and marriage licenses and death certificates, copies of them online. So before you had to come into the office and do it, you still can. It's based on preference, but it's available to you if you want.
Oh, that's good. Wow. Look at that progress already. All right. So tell me about the Democratic team that y'all assembled, because I saw the picture. I love this picture that y'all took. Tell me about this team. And is this the team that you rode in with? Is this the same team?
So we have, if you look at mayor, town clerk, and council at large, it's all women, and it's pretty amazing. We have district candidates, so 9 different districts in Hamden, and Paula's coming on in a minute, and she's from the 6th district. Adrian Weber is in the 7th district. We have a lot of diversity throughout our entire slate. So we came in with diversity, and a couple people have decided not to run for re-election, and so we have some people coming in for their first term this fall. So that's really exciting. Tasha Hunt is new to the Legislative Council, running at large. So it's an amazing team, and I'm really excited for the next 2 years.
I love it. So when you're out there knocking on doors and running for office requires that, what are you hearing from people? What issues are still looming large that you'd like to, tackle the second time around?
Well, it really is a lot of the, what's right in front of them. They need their sidewalk fixed. They need their road paved. A lot of mismanagement of the past also means that there hasn't been investment in infrastructure. And so we need to get that going. We've done a lot of road paving and sidewalks over the last 2 years. But when you look at sidewalks, we have $20 million worth of work to do. And it's just going to take us years to get through all of those lists. So just continuing every day to tackle it and making sure that we're funding our infrastructure, because when you don't fund infrastructure, it just gets worse. And it means that you're going to have to spend more money down the road. So, aside from making sure that roads and sidewalks are taken care of, people really care about taxes. And that's something that we have to pay down our debt. We have to pay down our liabilities. So the way that I explain our taxes is, if you put your bills on a credit card and then you didn't pay that credit card in full, instead you just paid the minimum payment, what you would owe down the road is going to be astronomical. And so that's essentially what Hamden did for a while. Paying the minimum payment has meant that now we have to pay more for what was borrowed before. We're paying more for it now. And so our taxes, I believe, are stabilized at this point. And in a few years, they'll come down. But we do have to make sure we're not passing this debt on to our children. And I also hear, sorry, go ahead.
No, what else do you hear?
All right. I also hear about crime. Yep. So, people are, they hear a lot about crime and, have cars stolen, that kind of thing. But Hamden really is on trend with what we're seeing throughout the state, where you see certain crime coming down and then some property crime increasing. And so we have gotten a grant from the state of Connecticut to add some deterrent patrols for stolen motor vehicles. But, this is something where we're going to see Hamden follow state and national trends. And Connecticut is a safe place to live. We are in much better shape than many other places in the country. And Hamden is a great place to live. We see some crime happening, but it's a lot better than it was in the 90s. And we're addressing crime in a lot of different ways. We're making sure that police are visible, but we're also looking to make sure that we're taking care of people, that we're providing more affordable housing, that we are making sure that people know about the different food resources that we have. It's important to me and to our team that we take care of people, and that when people have what they need to live, to survive, we'll see crime decrease.
Mm. So talk to me about the economic situation in Hamden. How do you grow that? How do you develop that? I mean, we all know the Hamden Plaza, and we all know, all that whole Dixwell drag, but there's other pockets of Hamden that have retail spaces, business spaces. Talk a little bit about the overall picture of economic development in Hamden.
Sure. So economic development is one of the major ways that we can impact taxes in Hamden. And so we have done a lot of work to make sure that it's easier to open up a business in Hamden. And that means that we're taking a look at our zoning regulations. We've changed our zoning regulations in our transportation zones to make them less restrictive, so it's easier to start up a business. And we have more zoning regulations to change, but it takes a lot of time. And so we started with the most important areas first, with the transportation zones. Those are your major routes along Whitney, Dixwell Avenue. And so we'll get to the other zoning regulations soon, but that was the most important to tackle. We're also trying to make sure that when businesses are opening up, that the permitting process for the building permits is smooth and quick. We don't want people to take a lot of time waiting for permits to get approved. So those permits get approved within 48 hours in our building department. So we've done that work to make sure that it's faster to open up a business. But we've got a lot of excellent businesses coming to Hamden. So Full Stack Modular moved their global headquarters into Hamden. The Haven Beer Company at the corner of Whitney and Dixwell Avenue is going to open up next month. We have awesome businesses coming to Hamden, and it's so exciting. I've cut ribbons at 30, 40 locations. And it's cool to be able to go out to the different small businesses and congratulate them and promote them. So there's a lot of great stuff happening in Hamden.
I love it. I love it. So, Karima, were you surprised at the way that the arts community is developing in Hamden? Are you surprised at the way the neighbors have come out and support some of these activities?
Not really. I think what I found is that we have like so many great artists that are just right here in Hamden, right? So I think there's been a lot of work that's done by the town, so led by Karen Bivens in the Arts and Culture department. A lot of work done by the Arts Commissioner, Lushonda Howard, and her team. And then they're just organic spaces. Like I believe Best Video, they've been doing great work. So I feel like art has been here. It's just, we just need to increase more space, amplify it, lift it up. And I think the more we put it out there, people are looking for it. They're welcoming it. I know there's been an insurge of people that came from New York City, and they're looking for culture. They want, where are the arts? Like, where can I go and be lifted and moved and transported? Where are the arts? So I believe we are answering that call. And I just look for all the opportunities that will continue to, increase and improve that. Because I always say, we share art, it changes the world. Like it is the thing. I believe, art just gives us a great way of responding, accepting, moving through the world. So I think the more we have it, the better everybody is. So.
I think you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and even if you come into my office, come to the town clerk's office, listen, I can't help it. It's me, Emmy. You come in, I have a big mural on my window, on our window, the team's window. And it has a butterfly and flowers, and we move through seasons, and the intent is so when people walk into the space, it feels welcoming. And it just does the thing that art can do for people. And that's even in our office.
Mayor, I want to go back to crime, because I know that people experience crime and then they hear crime, and they're not always the same thing, right? Yeah. And you can have people amp up a crime situation that does not exist, but instills fear in people. I see it all the time where, other people will say, oh, crime, crime, crime. And then everybody else like, well, yeah, crime. That's a problem. But they can't really, when you lay out the truth to them, it's like, well, violent crime is not up and this is not up. And, yeah, we're in the middle of, other cities and towns are having these same things. Yes, property damage, that kind of thing. But for the most part, we're safe. How do you talk to me about what crime actually looks like in Hamden?
Sure. So when anyone experiences crime, that can be a very visceral feeling. And I'm not here to tell anyone how they should feel about the crime that they experience. I communicate with a lot of people who have been victims of homicide. Their families have been impacted by that. And so what I can look at are some statistics. So last year we had 5 homicides in Hamden. And this year in November, we're at 1, which I think is fantastic. The one homicide that we had was, it looks like it's justified, a justifiable homicide. And so I think that we are in a much better place in terms of our homicides. We've definitely still had shootings, and I'm sure those can be very scary because what tends to happen is that, bullets are just flying in all different directions. There's, it's just kind of indiscriminately shooting. And so there have been homes that have been hit, and cars that have been hit. And that's, I'm sure, incredibly scary, being right there. But what we also see is people talking about crime so frequently that it feels to people like it's happening more frequently than it really is. And so when I get emails from people about crime, I always talk to them about wanting them to feel safe in their neighborhood. But I also share the statistics that are put out by the police department so that they can see what the actual crime statistics look like. And again, the statistics that we see in Hamden very closely look like the statistics that we see throughout the entire state of Connecticut, and much better than what it looks like in the country. And so while crime does exist, we're going to see it ebb and flow to respond to the economy, to respond to, the pandemic as it did. And so, we want to make sure that we are there for our citizens, and that the police department responds to the citizens. But it's something that is really difficult to address without big things like a community center for kids to go to, without big things like a gymnasium that's available for kids, after school. So we're doing what we can, working with a lot of partners in town, like Connecticut Violence Intervention and Prevention. We work with We Are the Village. We work with our juvenile review board. We have so many different partners in town to make sure that we are addressing the different ways that violence springs up, sometimes through people in kind of these conflicts that tend to go on, and where people are getting revenge. And so that's where CTVIP comes into play, to prevent, this revenge from happening, and spanning weeks and months, but also making sure that kids have positive role models, positive things to do after school. So there are a lot of different community resources and stakeholders that we are definitely working with so that we can address crime wherever it happens.
That's good. That's a good. I think as a mayor, you're always on the front line to talk about a couple of things: crime, education, economic development, and quality of life. Quality of life. What I mean, both of you talk to me about the quality of life in Hamden. How does it look now that you've had this this term? You've had a full term. What does quality of life look like now in Hamden? And if I'm a resident of Hamden, am I feeling good about my town? Am I anxious about my town? What would you like residents to feel?
So I think quality of life really depends on a few things. Are the services around you improving your life? And do you feel connected to your community? And so we've done a lot of work in both places, making sure that our cultural events really tie into the diversity of our community, but also the services that our public works are providing, that our police and fire are providing. We have really great employees in the town of Hamden who care deeply about the work that they do, take a lot of pride in their work. And so we are making sure that the town gets cleaned up, that, when we get calls about litter, we send a crew out immediately. We have a lot of street paving, like I said, and sidewalks getting repaired. We're trying to make sure that people take pride in their community and that we are doing the work of maintaining our town.
And I think what I would add is, when I first, started again 2 years ago, coming on the tail end of my first term. What I heard a lot when we were working on a transition plan, when you heard from the community, it was it was about transparency and accountability, making sure that they understood, demystifying government, right? Demystifying local government. And what I can say is, because it's interesting, I'm an elected official, but I work for the town, right? So it's not I'm elected and work for the town. So I'm in the building. I'm in the space, and I can say when, I first took on the position, we didn't have some of like the basic things that you need. The investments just weren't there, like in terms of technology, like having the infrastructure to build and start to create ways to engage with the community better. For a perfect example, technology in terms of online, being able to, so today, when you think about the town clerk's office, when you want to join a board's a commission, or you want to be a clerk, you would have to send that information in the mail, or send it via email, or drop by the office, or it just wasn't easy. Since then, because we've made these changes and put, we've our Microsoft words, and I'm not gonna say all the right words, but all that stuff is better, right? We've improved that. We've made those investments, and because you've made those investments, now people can go online. They can submit this information online. So if you want to be a part of the boards and commission, you don't necessarily have to go that route. That application is online now. If you want to be a clerk and you want to partner and be a part of this team, you can go online and you can do that. So what that does is so it's laying a foundation. And if, allowed to keep going, my intent is to make it so we demystify all that. All that information is online, right? We just, we're going after like things like FOIA software, so that when people want to submit FOIA requests, that information is online. It's available to residents. So it allows for people to engage, right? So it's not this thing over there, like this is local government outside of me, but it becomes more community. So I'm starting to see that, it's been happening. So I'm just excited for where it's going to go. We're not there yet. Like I believe we're making all the right steps to get there. And so I just want to see us to continue to move down that path.
And that sets me up for my next question. So if you are both elected to your sitting jobs, current jobs. What is the vision moving forward? What's the big picture like? What are you thinking? What will you work on? What's the priority? That's really what I want to say.
Yeah. So we've gotten, like I said, $30 million in grants, and it takes time for, we apply for the grant, it's awarded, and then we have to submit a ton of documentation to the state of Connecticut so that the money gets released. And so we're finally at a point where we've done our RFPs, and we are going to be able to start those projects. And so I am so excited to actually put shovels in the ground and get to work spending that money. So that we are so grateful from the state of Connecticut. But it's going to be a lot of work to see these projects through. So I'm excited for that. We have the money from ARPA, the COVID recovery money. And we have the council put together the budget for that. And it's a lot of different pots of money for us to address some homelessness, youth mentorship, the foundations in Newhall. There is just a lot of, there are a lot of different programs that we have to get up and running so that we can spend down that ARPA money as well. So it's a lot of project management that is going to be going on for the next couple of years, and continued financial health. And so, that looks like making sure we have honest budgets, that we are staying within the spending that's allowed for each of our departments. That we're continuing to find ways to save money, going out to bid on different vendors. So I would say that over the next 2 years, it's a lot of financial improvement and project management.
All right, so it sounds like Hamden is on the move, and we are all excited by that. So what is the best part of the job for both of you? Like when you get up in the morning, you're like, gosh, I'm so glad to be the town clerk because I'm so glad to be the mayor because.
So for me, I have a great team. Like I do. I'm not just saying it. A really great team, experience. We had some retirements. We've been able to be fully staffed, which is really great. I'm excited about that. And that's who I love engaging with the people. I mean, from the phone calls I receive, from the people who walk in the door. To me, that's it. For example, I tell a brief story about a person who came, who stopped by the office, probably like my year one, maybe a few months in. He was an individual who was in a wheelchair, and he had to come in and do some work. And at the time, I said at the time, because we are changing, we didn't have ability to take credit cards in the office. So what we would need to do is he needed to go upstairs to the ATM to grab, to get money. And so what would happen is he would, because he was in a wheelchair, he could get into the building, but when you get down to the town clerk is down in the basement. So we had to kind of navigate, open up the door, get him back up, get to the elevator so that he get to the ATM. So it just wasn't easy, right? So I remember him coming back down and he was like, you guys need to fix this. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And he was like, and I believe you're the person that's going to get it done. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. We're going to get this done. So what we did is we put an ADA compliant door. So now when anyone who comes in, and I see parents with the strollers and, all different types of things, people might be walking in, just having, challenges, mobile challenges, what have you. They can press that ADA, that door, that push door, and they're able to get in and out with ease. And so something like that seems really simple and small, was big. And so that's the stuff. I just love hearing the feedback. I'm a problem solver. That's who I've always been as a project manager and a process improvement person. So I'm always looking for ways to improve, always looking for ways to make things better. I don't ever believe we arrive, right? There's always different transformations and things that you can do to improve on. So for me, more of that, That's the best part for me. And it's just engaging in people and always looking for ways and systems, ways that we can improve systems, processes, and our interactions with people. Because it's all about community for me. That's why I'm here.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love it when I'm able to help someone and improve their life. And I love it when our departments work together and problem solve together. We find so many solutions when we have different departments working together. So frequently we see engineering work with planning and zoning and economic development and public works. So one of the examples that I really love giving is what we highlighted last week, our rain garden in Town Center Park. So our engineering department designed all of the rain garden, public works and parks, did the work. It was funded through a grant from Deep and Save the Sound. And we had community coming together to help do the plantings. The project hit a little snag halfway through where as they were digging, they found a lot of knotweed, which is a weed and an invasive species, and it had to get hand-picked out of this huge area. The rain garden is the largest municipal rain garden in the state of Connecticut, and there was a lot of knotweed. So we had awesome community members coming through and just hand-picking out that junk. And so it took us a year to build the rain garden, but it's a beautiful addition to Town Center Park. It's an important infrastructure improvement. It cleans our water. It makes sure that the water, is diverted and slows down rather than having a flooding effect downstream. So it's a fantastic project that I really like to highlight that shows how we all work together to improve our town.
Oh, I love that. Now I got to go see this. Like now, I don't even live in Hamden, but now I want to see it because these are the quality of life things that I think you said it, Karima, when people move into town, they want to know what's available to them outside of just going to work, right? Like, how is the town supporting my needs? Where can I put my kid in dance and ballet? And, do I have to travel far to get a good steak? You know what I mean? Like, how do I live in Hamden and still, feel like I'm getting arts and culture and a way of life that that makes living worthwhile. So I like that. So you're out there knocking on doors. I'm sure you're going to be doing a little bit more today because tomorrow's the election and you'll be at the polls all day. What do you want people to know in these last moments for voting and the importance of voting?
I want people to know that we have an incredible, hardworking Democratic team who has amazing partnerships with the state of Connecticut. And it is just so important for us to get reelected. We can keep the money flowing into Hamden, which, it takes relationships and trust in order for our state senators, state reps to work to get this money. And we want to make sure that we keep this team in place so that we can continue the good work in Hamden.
Mm.
And I would just add, yes, so we want to just continue to do the work. What I do love about this team is there's diversity in thought, right? Like, I don't believe in, just saying, okay, everybody believes in addressing an issue the same way. I believe that when you have diversity of thought, diversity with the same values, you get to great solutions. And so I feel like this team is on a path to make sure that we are serving all of Hamden, serving, and providing resources to all of Hamden. And so I believe, that, vote row A Hamden Democrats. You see it right there on the screen. It's a great team. These are your at-large candidates. So I will just quickly say, for the Hamden team, you have Sean Cardwell in the 1st district, Jerron Austin in the 2nd, Abdul Azmanu in the 3rd, Sarah Gallagher in the 4th, Rhonda Caldwell in the 5th, Paula Irving in the 6th, Adrian Weber in the 7th, Ted Stevens in the 8th, Barbara Gorham Walker in the 9th. Your at-large candidates are Katie Kiley, Tasha Hunt, Dominique Baez, Lori Sweet, your Board of Ed, Peter Downhauer, Greta Johnson, and Chris Piscatelli, and of course myself and Mayor Lauren Garrett.
I love it. So do y'all have any burning questions for charter or anything? Do you have any questions on the ballot this year, or are we just voting however way we're voting?
No questions
no
this
charters.
year. We did that last year. We had some big charter changes last year. So this year it's get out to vote and vote ROAD.
Okay. All right. So you've been out there, you've seen people, you're hearing from people, and I imagine people are pretty hyped for election in Hamden. What's your voter turnout like in Hamden normally?
We do pretty well. So during municipal elections, it's usually 35 to 40% turnout, and even better for state and national elections. Hamden has really taken on turning out Democrats. And so while we see some of our bigger cities really struggle with voter turnout, Hamden has stepped up to make sure that Democrats are getting elected throughout the state. And it's fantastic. It gives us a little bit more clout, I think, when we have, the governor, lieutenant governor come in. We had Rosa DeLauro, our congresswoman, come in over the weekend with our lieutenant governor, Susan Bisowitz. So we're happy to see all of these folks come to Hamden so that we can energize some voters.
Well, I think women attract women. Well, Democrat women attract Democratic women. And I think this is a good time for women to sort of be out there on the campaign trail. I do think it's a great testament to women leadership when you have women in leadership. And I think actually things get done. I'm biased, but I think things get done under women leadership. Y'all not saying that, I'm saying that. So I want people to know that when women run, they win. When women lead, everybody's life is better. It's like a rising tide, all the boats rise. So well, I'm excited for y'all tomorrow. And tomorrow night WNHH radio will be on air for election, like we do every election, and I'm sure we'll hear from somebody in Hamden about what the polls say and who wins. And okay, so where's the party? That's really what I want to know. Where's the where am I showing up at tomorrow night?
You're coming to my house.
I'm coming to your house. all of Hamden is coming to your house. So that sounds good. So you have a long day. Do you get to the polls? Are you the first ones to vote tomorrow? Do you get there at 6 a.m.? Are you the first one?
So my daughter doesn't wake up at 6 a.m. and she's 18. So I'm going to vote with my daughter.
Okay, that's wonderful. I used to vote with my children too. I mean, well, I used to bring them, and I voted with them, I think, the last few years, now that they're of age to vote. So that's a nice full circle moment, I think.
Yep.
So
yeah.
All right.
I'll be there at 6 a.m. because I'll be wearing. So today I'm here talking as a candidate. Tomorrow I'll be in the office as the town clerk. So I just want to make sure people are clear on the distinction. And so I'll vote first, and then I'll be working all day to make sure we're good in terms of all of the duties of the town clerk in elections.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck in your races tomorrow. I don't know who you're running against, but I just wanted to talk to y'all, and I'm going to be cheering, and good luck tomorrow, and high five. I think Hamden is looking pretty damn good these days. Seriously, pretty damn good. So, all right. Thank you all for the time.
Thank you, Babz. Thank you, Harry. All
right, everybody, go vote. Vote. I don't care who you vote for. I'm a Democrat. I would prefer you to vote a Democrat, but whatever you are, go on, exercise your right to vote. It's important. So, and this process is important. And democracy is the cornerstone of what we do in this country. So let's go. Thank you all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Vote, all right. Vote.
Thank you, Babz. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Thank you, Harry.
Love.